At first, I didn't even understand how it happened. I was standing in line at the bank, listening to a toddler scream behind me while a glacial clerk recounted my pennies for the 10th time. My pulse was redlining with pure rage. And then, silence. The kid stopped mid-shriek. The clerk froze with a $20 bill gripped in his hand. A drop of sweat, falling from his forehead, simply hung in mid-air. I waved my hand in front of his face. Nothing. I walked outside. Cars were parked in the middle of the street like toys, and birds were stuck in the sky as if they'd been glued to an invisible pane of glass. The world had stopped, and it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Admit it, every single one of you has dreamed of this, hitting the stop button and gaining limitless possibilities. You could lose your mind just thinking about the things you could pull off now. For the first week, I just had fun. I walked into the city's most expensive restaurant, went straight into the kitchen, and ate a Wagyu steak meant for some billionaire. Then I paid a visit to my boss. He was frozen while brushing his teeth. I carefully picked him up, carried him across the city, and sat him down in a trash can in the grimiest alleyway I could find. It was glorious. Then I stopped by the bank. You know how in movies they have to blow the vault. I didn't bother. I just walked behind the counter, took the keys from the frozen guard, and stuffed my bags with cash. Mortgages, loans, forget about it. I became the richest man on the planet in a single afternoon. But then I thought, why stop at money? If I have an eternity, I can become a god. I decided to spend a full year in this pause. I locked myself in a deserted library and began to learn everything. Quantum physics, Mandarin, the violin. I trained until I was drenched in sweat while the world stood still. I was going to emerge from this pause as the perfect human, a multimillionaire, and a genius. That's when physics enters the frame. He looks concerned. While I'm doing crunches in a frozen world, he explains that everything has a price. Stopping time isn't magic, it's a local expansion of space so extreme that external photons simply can't reach you. But your body is a biological machine. To move in a world where the very atoms of the air are locked in place, your metabolism has to accelerate thousands of times over. Physics points to my cells. They are working at the absolute limit. For the world, a microsecond has passed, but my mitochondria have already put in decades of work. This is the metabolic tax. If you move, you burn. A year passed. To me, it was exactly 365 days of peak productivity. I learned 10 languages, read 5,000 books, and hoarded more gold than a medieval king. I reached for the play button in my mind and decided it was time. Click. The world exploded with sound. The kid in the bank finished his scream. The clerk laid down the bill. But me? I couldn't stand on my feet. My knees crunched as if they were filled with broken glass. My thick hair fell to the floor in white clumps in a fraction of a second. One of my front teeth simply dropped out when I tried to say hello. I looked at the reflection in a storefront window. A 90-year-old man stared back, with a face like a dried apple. I am now the smartest and richest man in the nursing home. My girlfriend, who is still 20, came to visit me. She's horrified. She doesn't understand who this old man is calling her name in a perfect Mandarin dialect. But you know what? I still beat the system. The banks can't collect debt from a man who technically aged a century in a single second. I finally got some sleep for the rest of my life, which, judging by my pulse, should last another 5 minutes. Was it worth it? Absolutely.